DJ PK, and we're joined now by Stephen Johnson, TCU beat writer for the Fort Worth Star-Telegram. Stephen, good morning.
Hey, how's it going, fellas?
Good. Hey, before we dive into some specific players here, you're talking to two guys who've been doing this show for almost 25 years. So we were around when Gary Patterson was going to the Fiesta Bowl and winning the Rose Bowl, and TCU, BYU, and Utah had a really good thing going in the Mountain West. They were great. And Sonny Dykes comes in and takes them to the college football championship game his first year. Now, you lose a lot of players. You got to rebuild. We get that. Couple of 9-4 seasons back-to-back here. What is the missing piece that might jump TCU into the conversation with Texas Tech, with Utah and BYU in the elite in the conference? Big picture, they're good. What are they missing that they're not great?
Well, they hope that new offensive coordinator Gordon Samuels ends up being kind of the missing piece. I think Sonny realized Sonny's been an air raid guy most of his career and has had a lot of success with it. But I think if you notice BYU, Utah, Texas Tech, even teams like Iowa State and Kansas State, I feel like those teams, the Big 12 is moving from that air raid, throw it all over the yard 50, 60 times a game to those five teams I mentioned are very physical teams on both sides of the ball. Yeah, they still run spread, but a lot of those teams weren't afraid to get under center. I still remember going to that BYU game last year, just how much more physical BYU was than TCU. So they hope this new offense philosophy, which is a little bit more pro-style, a little bit more multiple, will allow them to play a bit more physical. Their run game has struggled the last 2 years, so they got a new OC. Even though they lost Josh Hoover, they think they have a more athletic quarterback in Jaden Craig that can also maybe unlock certain dimensions of the offense. So they're hoping this new offensive scheme and also being in year 3 under Andy Avalos could kind of be what they need to take that next leap into the elite of the Big 12.
Yeah, you speak of Josh Hoover, and he was a mainstay there. And on the way out, it seemed like from a distance, and get your thought on this, that Sonny took some shots at him talking about the turnovers. And I believe he had 42 total turnovers, 79 touchdown passes, 42 turnovers. And that ASU game was in a particular abomination. It seemed like they had that game won, but he kept turning it over. So with that in mind, you spoke of the new quarterback coming in. Is it a case of sour grapes, or is Sonny glad that Hoover's gone?
I think two things could be true, maybe three things. They certainly wanted to keep him. I know financially they were competitive with Indiana and some of the other teams that wanted him. I think ultimately Josh left because, Kendall Briles left. A lot of his good friends, Eric McAllister, Colton Deary, some other guys also ended up leaving. And he had been here, I think, 4 years. So he had kind of seen everything Fort Worth had to offer. But I do think it was a shot, but I also think Sonny was telling the truth as well. I think turnovers were one of the biggest things. I forget what the stat says, but since Sonny's taken over, if they just win or they're even in the turnover battle, I think they have some crazy record like 26-4, 27-4, or something like that. So typically speaking, when TCU doesn't turn the ball over or when they win the turnover battle, they win games. And that I still think to this day that's going to be Josh's biggest flaw. But like Signetti says, he's never had a defense as good as he'll probably have as Indiana. He's never had a run game as good as Indiana is likely to have either. So I think there was some truth in the statement, but I'd also think it was some sour grapes as well.
If he had stayed, would he have had the best line ever? Noah McKinney, Witten Van Hoy's returning. They are being talked up. And back to your earlier point about being physical, can they just load up and run behind those guys?
I actually think so, ironically. I really like some of the additions they made. Noah McKinney was obviously a big one. They got Cade Bennett back for an extra year eligibility. Some of those, Ben Taylor Whitfield as well. Ryan Hughes is coming off an injury. Another guy that got out of the portal, he was all conference at FIU, was a Jaheim Buchanan. So they're deep, and you're seeing a lot of those highly regarded recruits Sonny landed, in like the 23 class, 24 class. Those old linemen, Witten Van Hoy, Killian Registi, I think I said his name right, and Wesley Harvey, some other guys, they're finally ready to play now, and TCU is starting to look a little bit different on the offensive line. You're starting to see a little bit more 6'5", 6'6", even 6'7", so the body types are changing. So I do think Josh would have probably had his best O-line if he stayed here.
Don't know a lot about Jaden Craig other than a 3-year starter at Harvard, But the thing that gives me confidence is I believe Sonny could take whomever, basically, and mold him into a pretty good quarterback. I think we followed him at Cal, and we know what he was about, and he's a real good offensive mind, obviously. So from that perspective, what do you expect from Craig? And tell us about him, what he does well.
I kind of follow that same thinking as you. I think even whether it be Max Duggan, Josh Hoover, Chandler Morris can really stay healthy. The success he had at SMU, even going back to Louisiana Tech. I think Sonny, if he's known as a quarterback whisperer, I think he's earned that reputation just based off the work he's done, really all over the place. So I expect Craig will probably set some career-high numbers. I think one thing that he'll be able to showcase a little bit more than he wasn't able to at Harvard because of depth issues is just his mobility. I don't think his rushing stats are probably just going to jump off the page, but he's more mobile than maybe you might expect. He's a little bit bigger than Josh. I think he has similar arm talent, man. I really do. So I think the mobility, the fact he's going to be in the offense, that Samus really kind of thrives on making the game really, really easy for his quarterbacks. Fagnano at UConn was one of the most efficient passers in college football last year, and that's what they want to do this year. They don't necessarily need or want Craig to have to carry the offense, but I do think this scheme and this ability to kind of get him in space to use his legs will bring out the best of him. He has some NFL draft buzz, so he has NFL upside. I do believe that, and I definitely saw it to watch him go through the spring.
Quarterback depth can always be an issue, and I was looking at some of the guys who played in the version of a spring game. And Jack Dalton, wait a minute. No, we're so old that Andy Dalton's kid is playing college football? That's a shocker. How good is he?
Dawson, I don't think Andy's his dad, but for what I remember. But he was running with the threes, but when he got on the field, he was a 3-star recruit out of the Woodlands near Houston. He flashed some talent, man. He was a guy that really impressed Kendall Browse and Sonny when Browse was here. So I definitely think he closed the spring pretty strong. The second quarterback is going to be Adam Schobel, who's really raw but really talented, 6'4", maybe 6'5", can move, has really good arm talent. He just needs more polish. He played at like 4A or 3A here in Texas, so he's just kind of refining his skills. So TCU has good quarterback depth. Obviously, they hope it won't be tested, but it won't be like some of those other years where if Josh went down, they would be having to turn to almost a walk-on or a true freshman. So I think TCU's in a good spot when it comes to his quarterback depth.
Receiver-wise, McAllister was a really, really good player, right? I think we all understand that. And when he was available, he was very nice. Now they don't have somebody, I think, that has the original or the stature of name value along those lines. But I'm assured that if it's a Sonny Dykes offense, they've got guys waiting in the wings, and whether it's a Jeremy Scott or a Terry Shelton, maybe it's those guys. Who knows? Could you tell us about what they have as far as receiver goes?
Well, the biggest addition, I guess the return they got was Jordan Dwyer coming back. They picked him up last year from Idaho in the transfer portal. He's the second leading receiver with close to almost 800 yards. So if there's going to be a guy, it's going to be Jordan. Having him back, I just think is huge for just not only his experience. He's a proven guy. Did it at the FCS level, and then he did it at the Power 4 level. So he'll be wide receiver one. I think they're counting on the outside receiver, that second outside spot, either Terry Shelton or Dozie Ezukanma. I think I pronounced it right.
Yeah.
They're betting on one of those two guys to kind of take a leap. And based on the spring, I think they're both capable. I would probably maybe lean more towards Shelton kind of having that starting role. But they might use those two guys to kind of replicate what Eric McAllister did. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if, say, Terry Shelton has like 500 yards and Dozie has 300 or 400. Because I think it's going to take a committee approach to replace Eric. And then finally, they got Ed Small coming back. Ed Small, before his injury, I thought was one of the top freshman slot receivers last year. And so he's another guy they can depend on. They really like their tight end room. So I think it will be a committee approach. I don't know if they'll have the Big 12's leading receiver next year, but there's plenty of talent. They just need some of those younger guys to kind of step up now.
Back to your point about being bigger and more physical, we have seen Utah and BYU both have success with tight ends. But tight ends, that's an all-purpose label. Like, some guys are more run blockers, some guys are receivers, and a really glorified slot slot guys. And some guys really, truly are combo guys. What do they have in the tight ends group for TCU?
Well, all the tight ends now, I think, have to. Gordon Samuels demands that they have to be willing to kind of put their hand in the dirt, and they have to be good inline blockers. Obviously, he wants a receiving threat, a receiver that can, a tight end that can stretch the field. But it's paramount receiver, tight end, that you have to be a plus in the blocking game. So I think all of the tight ends are having to get a little bit more physical. Kamorion Pimpton is probably the lead guy. Right now, he's 6'6", 6'7". I view him as, I think his strengths are going to be in the red zone target, just getting up, going up for those jump balls, but he has a lot of talent, man. They were really banged up, honestly. Another guy I really like is Mason Peterson. He's another guy. I think he might be him and Lafayette Kawhi. I think I said his name right. I think they're more of those, more modern tight ends. That can really stretch the field. They're faster despite having, so much, despite their physicality and things like that. So they have a versatile tight end room. They're just hoping those guys can get healthy and everybody will be able to go in fall camp.
Reading up on them defensively, said they have some gaps to fill in the secondary at linebacker. And going with linebacker, I know Elam's Caleb was really good as far as linebacker, and he was just a tackle machine. So how is that position going to be?
It's a big question mark. They do feel good about the development of Max Carroll. He's a Memphis guy just like me. So Max will step into Caleb Elam's Orr's role as kind of like the Mike Backer. Another super talented former four-star recruit, was an athlete in high school, played every position. So he has like a receiver safety mindset at linebacker, which I think is going to allow him to be really thrive against both the pass and the run. So if there's a breakout guy on that TCU defense, I would definitely say it's him. Outside of him, though, that room's going to be a big question mark. They're dependent on – it'll either be one of the handful of redshirt freshmen they have that, weren't ready to play last year, having to step up. They also brought in Mike Short from North Carolina, but he was a reserve at North Carolina. And they also have Michael Thiessen back, who was a transfer from Missouri State. So I would argue that second linebacker spot by Max Carroll, that's probably the biggest question mark on the defense for TCU.
TCU's defense a year ago, 14th in the conference, giving up 245 yards a game through the air. That is not good enough. Have they leaned heavily into the transfer portal to fix that? How is that going to work out?
Well, absolutely. They loaded up at the cornerback position. It was really strange because their safeties were so good last year, but their cornerbacks was kind of like the opposite story. So they do bring back Jamel Johnson, who I think will be preseason All-Big 12, maybe preseason All-American. Tied for the team lead in interceptions last year. I think he's an NFL guy, just like Bud Clark was. And another guy, not a transfer, but a true sophomore, Gil Jackson at cornerback. He might have been the top performer in the spring. He looks like a dude. He looks like the type of corner you'll see in the SEC. 6'3", great frame, has that type of confident, bordering on cocky mindset that you want from your defensive back. I think he's another guy that could be a breakout. And they brought in two cornerbacks, Kalen Carroll from Central Michigan and Tion Parks from Colorado. Also bring back Vernon Glover as well. So they would like to think they'll be better on that side of the ball. They struggled, I think, in jump ball situations last year, and they struggled for some reason in third and long. They had one of the better defenses in terms of stop rate on first and second down. So they were really good at forcing those 3rd and 7s, 3rd and 8s, but they also really struggled to get out the field as well. So it was a really strange year watching the secondary last year, considering how good their safeties were.
I know they got a recruit coming in, quarterback, who's they're really high on, and the recruiting you spoke about, that they've been doing it. And I think that is reflective, and you can answer this much better than I could, in the reason why they gave Sonny an extension in April. Is that accurate?
I think so. I think Sonny, the recruiting as well, I think the fact he was able to kind of stabilize the ship, if you will, the last 2 years, I think that was big. If you're Mike Buddy, you're coming in. For the most part, TCU's athletic department is in a really strong place. And, at AD, you're defined by the hires and decisions you make. So I don't think Buddy wanted to really come in and make a major decision if he didn't have to. And the way Sonny, I think, closed the year last year and in 2024 was the right sign that, as he said after that bowl win over USC, TCU is a good football program. Now they're trying to figure out how to take that last step. It starts with recruiting. You're seeing that, I think, finally in the trenches more than anything, both on the defensive line and the offensive line. The body types are changing. The physicality is changing. Now they just have to go and execute on the field and figure out, can they take that next step, especially with Sorsby. In my mind, Sorsby shouldn't be playing this year for Texas Tech, but that's another story.
Yeah. I think you'll be right.
Stephen, we appreciate the time and the info. Thanks for joining once again. We appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you guys.
Stephen Johnson, TCU beat writer for the Fort Worth Star-Telegram. Sonny Dykes, 4 years there, 36-17. And you like to throw out the bowl games and the non-conference. And tell me how you stack up in the conference. And he is right now 23-13 in his 4 years. So
I'm a Sonny fan. He's always very media accessible. Every time we talked to him, it was easy to talk to the guy.
Yep.
And he came on our show. We'd call him up. He'd be willing to come on. And then, of course, in media days, and we'll see him here. Now it's next month since we are into June already. Made my reservations the other day for Big 12 media days, the 8th and 9th of July, whatever that Tuesday, Wednesday is. And so we'll have all the coverage as we usually do. But, yeah, he's good, and he got that one big season. There's no question about it. I think they have the ability to not really be a surprise team, but be in the thick of things. I think they're in that group. I've got 3 teams in the top, and then I've got about 5 or 6 teams in that middle. And they're in there.
the middle.
And could be at the move up. I got 5 or 6 teams in that middle, maybe only 5, that could find their way to play in the title game. I've got the 2 locals and Texas Tech. And then I got a bunch of others that have the chance to be really good. And I think he could be one of those, or they could be one of those.
They didn't beat BYU last year. They couldn't beat ASU. Iowa State got them, but Iowa State's in a different place. You can move them down in the order with the coaching change and the roster getting gutted. They didn't have to play Tech last year. That has been set up for ESPN Thanksgiving night. They're expecting something. They've already put that thing in on Thanksgiving night.
Thanksgiving night game?
TCU at Texas Tech, Thursday, November 26th, ESPN, 6 o'clock. They're not putting 2 teams there because they think they're going to be 4-7. That's not
sweet.
That's not what they're expecting there.
Yeah, that'll be a fun game.
Tech plays Thursday, Utah plays Friday, and then BYU's got a Saturday game. Spread it out over the holiday weekend.
Yeah, great. That's just what a great time. I feel sorry for you if you're not a football fan.
On Thanksgiving weekend?
Yes.
It's such a glorious.
I mean, it's turkey football.
It was always 4 days of football, and now it's going to be 5. Hard to believe there was a time when there were only 2 Thanksgiving games, and now there's 3. And now they're adding in the Wednesday night NFL game.
What's the NFL game that night? Do you know?
I should know it's out. I'd have to search, so I don't know off the top of my head. I mean,
I think the Lions and Cowboys are playing.
Wow, what breaking news there.
Not each other.
Green Bay Packers at the LA Rams.
Oh,
that's a good game that just got better with that trade yesterday.
Actually, check that. I screwed up. That's the Thanksgiving Eve game, excuse me.
That's good.
Chiefs. Is it?
It's Chiefs at Bills.
Chiefs Bills.
Oh, that's outstanding, too.
So Allen versus Mahomes.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
Yeah, they load them up.
I'm going to get loaded up on turkey and football.
Packers, Rams, Wednesday.
That's awesome.
Chiefs, Bills, Thursday after the traditional games.
Usually on the Wednesday before, traditionally, I had gone disco dancing because I get my wife a cocktail dress that I give her before Christmas. But I may have to stay home that night.
Trying to get all the hits in, huh?
Wrap them all up in one and throw it at the same time.
Put a bow on it, as Yak likes to say.
Well, and that's what I do now.
Not yet.
I do put a bow on it because I go through Amazon now to get the cocktail dress because Kmart is closed.
Amazon has Denver at Pittsburgh on Friday, just to tie that all together.
Denver at Pittsburgh. Yeah, well, we'll be getting down to the end of Aaron Rodgers at that point.
That'll be tough to, yes, but we're gonna have the Ute game that day too, so I'll have local college football.
They play West Virginia?
Yes.
7 o'clock.
Oh, is it 7? Oh, then we got time. The NFL game's at 1, so.
Yep. So
you got a whole
Utes
day
play
of
at
college
home,
football.
7 o'clock Friday after Thanksgiving.
Correct. And then BYU.
That could be chilly.
Yeah, it could be.
That's
likely
that's
will
3
be.
Thanksgiving Fridays in a row for them.
I think that's
But
kind
at
of.
least they're home this time.
Oh, I don't follow that's just Saturday part one. That Friday after.
I was going to say that weekend.
Yeah, that's
is
fine.
all, yeah.
Whether they play Friday or doesn't really matter, and that's everybody considers that holiday weekend. That's the biggest holiday weekend we have every year, because there's a bunch of holidays that aren't always on a weekend. It just depends on how the calendar falls. But obviously for Thanksgiving, it's always Thursday, and yeah, you just lock it down.
Yeah. The NFL has set up a bunch of marquee games for you that week. While you were talking, I called. Jeez, man, these guys, they don't miss a beat. Fox gets a doubleheader. They get Seattle and San Francisco. You know,
They shouldn't miss a beat because it's entertainment.
New England and L.A., the Chargers, Sunday night in prime time. So
Yeah, the only thing is that one of the stations plays The Godfather nonstop, so I'll have to just get out of that for a little bit.
But you can get right back into it. I mean, you literally pick it up with the inner dialogue. You're kind of like, you're right there.
I know, but I feel like, like a traitor to the faith of not watching it completely.
Well, you can bail out when they get to Godfather 3. You don't really like that one. It's just the
I
first
don't even
two.
know they show that one.
I think they do.
Oh.
But
Yeah.
as you see, you're off to the football game then.
Right,
You can't be
yeah.
bothered with that.
No.
It's about the two, and, when De Niro's running along the rooftop, breaking up the gun, throwing it down different chimneys, you're there.
Oh, yeah. I've done that myself.
Nice one. Everything you missed in this show, when we come back, stay with us.
3, 2, 1. This is Scotty G and Coach Tim LeCoe.
Look, private equity doesn't like to add costs. They like to limit costs because they have a bottom line that they have to hit. I just hate when you've got somebody who has been working in the marketing department forever or who's been a sports information director forever, and they're doing their job and they're busting their butt and they're trying to tell good stories, and those are the guys that are going to get affected.
And to me, it's just a direct response to BYU having all the money they need at their disposal, a built-in way to fund the program. There's nothing about this deal that screams win to me. I don't like the feeling of it. Matt Hayes summed it up best at the end of his article. He said, this is the same Utah athletic department that wanted so badly to push out football coach Kyle Whittingham at the end of a 10-win season, but was willing to pay him $13.5 million over the next 2 years to do so.
Catch Scotty G and Coach weekdays from 10 to 2. Presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
DJ and PK, it is time to get you up to speed on everything you missed. Slacker Radio Headlines brought to you by Trajan Wealth. Call Trajan Wealth today, your local trusted financial fiduciary. Call them at 1-855-TRAJAN1 or visit their website at TrajanWealth.com. Big trades in the NBA. People loading up. The Patriots in the NFL. The Patriots get A.J. Brown from Philadelphia. Give up a 2028 first-round pick, a fifth-round pick in 2027.
Well, that's good on the heels of the Jazz getting A.J. DeBonta.
Myles Garrett from Cleveland to the Rams for Jared Verse and 3 NFL draft picks spread out over the next 3 years. First round, second round, third round, 27, 28, 29. So the Rams, who are already in the NFC Conference Final, brought in 2 corners and a big-time defensive lineman.
Well,
bolster that D.
The age of Stafford dictates now.
Yep. Got to go for it. This is
tomorrow,
it.
now.
Go for it. And you're so close.
Oh, yeah.
But Seattle, I saw a stat that Seattle averaged over 6 yards per play against them the 2 times they beat them. Yeah, so that's not good. So bolster the D. 2 corners and a guy who's both a big-time pass rusher, but he's also very good against the run. You don't always get both those things in the same guy, but the Rams get Garrett. But the Rams were rumored to be in the A.J. Brown sweepstakes, and they were rumored to back off. Well, yeah, because they were lining up this deal with the Browns. Decided we're going to take these draft picks and use them over here instead of over there. So now it's all clear.
Take these draft picks and shove the A.J. Brown deal. Like, take this job.
Broncos, Patriots, Bills, would those be your AFC favorites? You got anyone on a, you don't have to rank them, but just like top tier teams?
I still put the Ravens in there.
Okay. Yeah, I got them a tier below. Playoff team, but I don't see them as a Super Bowl team. But new coach, new ideas. See if we can mix it up and make something happen.
But if you are a playoff team,
by definition, you're not that far away.
The Cardinals got to the Super Bowl.
That they did. Raymond Berry passed away at the age of 93. Caught touchdown passes from Johnny Unitas over 13 seasons in the NFL. Also, coached in the NFL and led the Patriots to the Super Bowl, where they got destroyed by the Chicago Bears. But he got them there. Hall of Famer. And the NBA loses longtime coach Rick Adelman. A couple of big names in sports there. Adelman was 79. Barry was 93.
Adelman in the Hall of Fame, too. Had an opportunity to interact with him over an extended period of time, several times. Not that he knew me, but I'm just saying I had an opportunity to interview him on a one-on-one basis. And I just appreciated his professionalism. He knew I had a job to do, and I had to ask questions, and he liked talking basketball. And then I interviewed him when I was working in California. And then you come up here, and you see he's a peer of Jerry Sloan, and they're very similar in the way they sold the game and made themselves available to answer questions. And I respected that.
A lot of parallels there. They played in the same era, coached to the same era.
Yeah.
Both moved around, although Adelman more than Sloan. I mean, but Sloan was with the Bulls, too. So.
And was a professional and was there to coach basketball.
Yeah.
Not to be a celebrity, not to create a bunch of hoopla around him.
Nope, it's lifer.
And just was there to coach basketball. That was his job. I appreciate that.
Took the Blazers to 2 NBA Finals. The Kings had their best run with him running the show, 8 winning seasons. And went to Houston and had a 22-game win streak.
Should have taken the Kings, but I think the Lakers had 27 free throws in the fourth quarter one time.
Ouch.
27, I think it was.
Shaq and Kobe got some calls.
And Phil.
The Kings did not.
In the fourth quarter. Not in the game. I'm not talking about a game. I'm talking about a quarter. That was a little bit questionable.
We talk basketball with Steve Cleveland. He acknowledges the Knicks are underdogs, but he wants them to get it done.
I probably do, too, going back to my childhood.
Yeah. Spurs already have 5 titles. And Wemby will get his at some point. But this is the Knicks moment.
Yeah.
If not now, when?
I was in the stands, in the Garden in 73. Not the clincher, but I went to a game in that series as a youngster. And I think we all understand. You don't have to live back there to understand how big New York Knicks
The only thing that
basketball is.
surprised me is that when Geltz came on, and I did not know this, but I mean, obviously you guys, lived in the tri-state area, and I haven't. I would have thought the Yankees were bigger than the Knicks, but
Well,
he
I
said
think
the Knicks
now.
just because the Yankees are in May, and June now, but because it's too early in the season, or because the Knicks are on a heater right now.
I think it's a combination in that the Yankees are in the playoffs virtually every year, and it's been a bit, but
And this has
they've
some
won
newness to
several World Series, and they were so dominant in the Joe Torre era, obviously. And the Knicks, for a long time, not only weren't a contender, they sucked, and they were trying to make moves, running through coaches, and Knick basketball is huge, just huge. And it's at a time where in the summer, the Yankees, if they're in a World Series, it's gigantic, obviously, but they still have to share the stage a little bit with the NFL. Now, the Jets and Giants both have been horrible. Mm-hmm. I think the Giants are going to have a rebound here a little bit. I don't know about the Jets.
No, but the Giants are doing some things that you've seen done before, and you've seen them pay off.
Yeah.
The organization's kind of been all over the place. Harbaugh's a proven winner with a strong personality. He can come in and just bring a certain amount of professionalism.
And I think that's important.
Yes, and it's what his brother did with the parallels with the Chargers are pretty obvious, but I think the parallels with the Broncos, same type of deal. Peyton's a strong personality, comes in.
I think people get caught up in the moment because when the Giants with Bill Parcells and Lawrence Taylor and Phil Simms, there was nothing bigger then. And Parcells was a local guy. And his personality was overwhelming, dominant. And people were attracted to him.
And it's the NFL. It's a heck of a stage to build off of.
Right. And so I think at that time, I think it can fluctuate a little bit.
And I get that. And I get that the Giants, Knicks, Yankees are the three most important teams. But in the general order, I thought, based on the fact that the Yankees just win so much, I would have thought they were, of the big dogs, the biggest dogs. And I get based on time of year and based on
maybe
who's
if all
winning.
things are equal,
Right.
yes.
And things are not always equal. I get that. I was just surprised by what he...
Yeah, and with Aaron Judge, they have a big-time personality.
Sure.
But back in the Tory days, they had several big-time personalities.
The Yankees have just done a better job of staying in the spotlight consistently versus the Knicks and the Giants, who have really had problems. And the Yankees haven't been great, but they haven't been out there going 72 and 90.
No.
Which is what essentially the Giants have done and what the Knicks have done.
Yeah.
The Knicks have had their 36-win seasons or whatever.
And the Knicks actually play in New York.
Yeah. They're literally in Manhattan. I mean, even the Yankee Stadium, you get on the train and
Bronx,
get up there.
Up a little bit. Yeah.
Right.
The Yankees, I may push back a little bit if you had all things being equal.
You push back on me or on Geltzeiler?
Getzeiler?
Okay.
Because I think that the Yankees, they're right there with any franchise in any sport.
Right. Yeah. I get it.
I hear about these soccer teams and all, and I think the Yankees can compete at that level. Like Whittingham grew up a Yankee fan, of all things. He's from California and lived in Utah. And you gravitated to the Yankees? What's wrong with you?
Front runner.
You front runner, yeah.
Front
big
runner.
time. And then he goes to Michigan. My gosh, take a tough job. Let's see what you can do there, buddy boy.
He did. He took Utah.
Well, I took Utah, and they were 14-0.
But everybody left. They were 12-0, and everybody left.
Right, but if they would have had a playoff, they would have been 14-0.
Nice save. Good save. Well done. Stanley Cup Final starts tonight. Vegas and Carolina. You have a little more interest in it just because Vegas knocked out the Mammoth?
Oh, for sure.
Like, how good a team did the Mammoth lose to? Did they lose to the champs? Because really the question is, how close are the Mammoth?
Well, I think actually I was rooting for Vegas to win because I had a reference point to get them to get to this point, and they've gotten to this point. And then you can see it's not necessarily a complete and total linear straight line. Well, we did this against them, and we were better. I mean, who's to say if you would have played Anaheim that you would have beat them? You know what I mean?
Oh, I do.
Or Colorado that you would have beat them. You can't really say that, but it is a measuring stick, and where the Mammoth are right now, they still have a little bit of a barometer. 2-3 years from now, we got to get past that, but right now, we're not there yet.
Yeah. I don't know that they would have done what Vegas did going forward, and yet I see how Vegas has handled other teams, and I think, man, actually the Mammoth acquitted themselves pretty well.
There's no question they did. But you can argue, well, I mean, at that point, they were still barely getting started with Tortorella and bringing Hart in, established as the goaltender and all that stuff. And so if they would have played the Mammoth in the third round instead of the first, you can argue, well, they would have handled them much easier. Who knows? I mean, it's just open for debate, and maybe it took a little longer. And point being, Vegas is where they want to be, and we'll see what happens going forward.
Anything else you want to tell the people?
An amazing group of people. One of the greatest luck strokes of my life was being able to live in Utah. I hope I live in Utah many, many more years. I am not tired of living in Utah, nor will I ever be.
When we come back, your feedback next. Stay with us. I've lived in Utah too long. I don't know what to tell you. All right, your feedback. What do you think? What's going on? Question of the day. Chet Holmgren stunk it up in the Western Conference Finals. Was the number 2 pick. Just saying, any concern the number 2 in this month's draft might not be good? Well, yeah. But that was long before Chet Holmgren had his Western Conference Finals, which wasn't nearly as good as the 2 previous rounds. And we went through the last 25 years, PK, and the number 2 pick, I would say there were 5 pretty good players in there. And I would put Holmgren on that list as one of the top 5 number 2 picks.
Harper shows promise. I think even Shar shows promise. Brandon Miller shows promise.
I was going to give those 3 a pass. It's so early to try to judge them.
Right. That's why I said shows promise.
Right. But it's actually, Holmgren's a good player. Now, not good enough on the biggest stage.
Yeah, but you're big on the money, and he's due for this big thing.
No,
is that going to actually hamper them?
That'll be if they give him $50 million. Yes. If they move him because they got to pay a lot of people, and there is speculation about them moving him, then no, it won't hamper them. It'll depend on who they get back for him.
Yeah, but I mean, it's fresh in our minds. He's damaged goods now.
I get it. We went through the whole list. LaMarcus Aldridge is a good player. Kevin Durant is the best number 2 pick. And you can throw in Chet Holmgren, and then you can pick a couple other players who were nice players, decent, but it's hard to get to 5, really. I mean, Brandon Ingram, he hasn't won anything. He's a pretty good player.
He's okay.
Yeah, so he'd be 4 probably.
But I want more.
I get it. Jabari Parker had major injuries.
Undercut.
Lonzo Ball has had injuries, and Hasheem Thabeet washed out. Michael Beasley bouncing all over the place. Marvin Williams, big disappointment. Emeka Okafor, big disappointment. A lot of injuries. Darko Milicic, maybe one of the worst busts there was. Especially
D'Angelo Russell, okay.
I know. Yeah, it's just super disappointing. You just
Derek Williams.
You don't have enough All-Star games. You don't have enough conference finals, NBA championships in this group. When you think you're picking 2, all the players are on the board for all these teams to choose from.
I know.
The Lakers drafted 2 3 years in a row and came up with D'Angelo Russell, Brandon Ingram, and Lonzo Ball. Not really transformative. 3 number 2 picks in a row. I mean, at least the Spurs look like they hit on their guys at 1, 2, and 4. It's outrageous they got 3 picks that high in 4 years, but the Lakers drafted number 2 3 years in a row. Oof.
Yeah. And that's why they're going out in the first round.
Yeah. True story. So, yes, long before Holmgren, well aware of the perils of number 2. It's funny, you go through all the number 3 picks. The number 3 picks are actually better.
With the limitations on acquisitions and trades and whatnot, the draft has become the utmost importance.
Yeah. Number 3 picks include Luka Doncic, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. That's 3 years in a row. Embiid was a 3. James Harden was a 3. If you go back far enough, Carmelo Anthony was a 3. Pau Gasol was a 3. If you go back far enough, Michael Jordan was a 3. So, yeah, a lot more results out of draft than 3rd. But that just comes down to at number 2, well, then just pick the right player.
Right.
Right. There he was. He was right there. And we did talk about really having the courage of your convictions. These guys who go 7, 10, 14, whatever, they're all on the board too. But there's this whole conventional thought about, well, this must be the best player. You have to take him. And then you do, and doesn't translate at all.
Well, you need to, it's like recruiting rankings. You need to see something irrespective of the dumb star system.
And VJ Edgecombe, the most recent 3, only a rookie, so let's not pronounce anything, but wow, great rookie year. Well done.
Yeah, he's a player.
Let's see. Who else had stuff to say here? Maybe Wemby makes other players look bad. Well, he did. He made Holmgren look bad.
Okay, sure, but that's the concern for the Jazz because you're going to go up against Big Vic.
That is exactly a concern. That's an excellent point. And the thing is, I get Wemby's defense, and you're going to miss shots, and he's going to block me, he's going to change shots, and he's getting your head. But you can't have 4 rebounds. Like, no. You have a bad shooting game, A, it happens, and B, Wemby can make it happen. But you had 4 rebounds, and there were 10 people out there who had 5, 6, 7 boards. Everybody was rebounding. Go get some.
And to me, and the stats are ugly, but the timid nature in which he played.
Yeah, I get it.
The appearance.
Well, I think
was
the
not
stats
good.
and the body language absolutely correlated and showed the story.
He just looked passive,
right?
Afraid.
And that's the point. If he hadn't been passive, if he'd been aggressive, he would have had more than 4 boards. Wemby might have still blocked his shots and changed his shots, but he would have had more than 4 boards.
6 charges. Foul out of the game.
Do something. Sean, I think people are judging Chet unfairly. Had an excellent year, was an all-star, and just happened to play poorly in the conference finals. It didn't erase everything he's accomplished prior. That, Sean, is much nicer than what Chet had to say about himself. Basically, Chet went Godfather on himself. I have to answer for this. I have to get better. There's no sugarcoating it. I thought his general
assessment
and demeanor was like good. That when I hear someone say that, I think, oh, well, I got to watch him now because a year from now, 2 years from now, it might be a totally different
It
performance.
very well could be. I'm not going to bury him for the
Yeah.
rest of his career. He's 24 years old.
Especially because of what he said.
Yeah.
If he had deflected and he hadn't owned it, and I just paraphrased, but basically I thought he owned it.
No, I understand what you're saying. He didn't
Then
say
I'm
this
like,
isn't going to ruin my summer.
Yeah, and then
And
it'd
every
be like,
freaking summer got ruined because you said it wasn't going to ruin your summer.
Yes.
How about you said it is going to ruin your summer?
Right.
Maybe there would have been one time, just one time, your summer wasn't ruined.
Ronnie, you really think Peterson's not going to be good? I hate to be the GM that passes on that kid.
I don't think that he's not going to be good. I'm concerned, is he going to be productive?
Is he going
If
to be
he's sitting
available?
over there, he's not productive.
Is he going to be available? Well, I think that actually GMs think what Ronnie said. Ronnie, I think you're on the spot
Is that
there.
Cycli?
But no, Lind. But I also think the GMs think, I'd hate to be the GM that takes him and then he doesn't play.
Of course.
I think they stress about both these things.
Or they get hurt.
Yeah.
Whatever it might be. Because they all know that this is a golden opportunity to set your franchise up with a very good player.
Rick, yeah, DP's a huge risk. 3 exclamation points. Right, but it could be a huge payoff. Scott says, Chet didn't have Jalen Williams, so he became the number 2 scoring option. He didn't work on strength training like Wemby. I'd still love to have Chet on my team as a center over Kessler.
Ooh.
Whoa, no.
I don't even really think of him as a center.
He's not a center. He's a power forward at best.
I need a rim protector whose primary job is protect the paint, protect the rim, protect my guys, and board.
Chet's a help side defender. He's not a primary.
Right, and he's good at that. I'll give him that. No problem.
He is.
But I want a primary guy anchor.
Hartenstein had to be the guy to match up with Wemby. His physicality bothered Wemby. Didn't stop him.
He's a much bigger
but
dude.
He is a much bigger dude. Chet doesn't have the body to go out there and body up Wemby, and that's why they didn't ask him to do it.
No, you can't just go on height. I mean, Durant is not a center.
No.
He's not even really a power forward in that manner. That's not. I know he's tall, but so what?
If Chet's going to play center, he's going to need some more beef.
And I think he's got the Britton Johnson thing on him. He's going to be skinny the rest of his life.
Yeah, I think you're right. That's his body chemistry.
Yeah.
That's the way it is. All right. That is interesting about Jalen Williams would have scored and you wouldn't have noticed it as much.
And Mitchell was a rotational player, and he wasn't in there either. So who knows?
Well, whoever was going to lose that series was going to say, if we'd had our guys, we could have won. Because the Spurs lost games early when they were shorthanded. And that is just going to lead to more teams resting guys during the regular season trying to be healthy for the playoffs.
Great.
I know. Thank you.
Way to end it on a downer, TV boy.
Scotty G will change the mood next. Right here on The Zone.